And welcome. This is the India Today Newsroom. I'm Rahul Kamal. Lakhs of citizens stranded as some of India's biggest cities flooded with water. And that's our top focus on the Newsroom tonight. It's raining chaos across the metros. The roads in the capital and one of its poshest suburbs, Gurugram, are choking. It's been over 24 hours since the Millennium City came to a standstill. Waterlogging, breakdowns, bumper-to-bumper traffic and roads caving in because the rain has thrown life out of gear. In Bengaluru too, heavy rains created traffic snarls and waterlogging prompted the use of boats. Toxic lakes in the city are frothing. Monsoon mayhem has gripped Mumbai as well. Massive jams being reported from all across the city. Ground reports nationwide coming up on the Newsroom tonight. Also, we want you, our viewers, to join in and participate in this interactive edition of the Newsroom tonight. Who do you believe is to blame for this mess? Remember, in cities like New York and London, I was there recently, it keeps raining for hours on end, and yet you don't see the kind of chaos that you see in Delhi. Here we are, Netas building up fancy dreams of smart cities. Just a few minutes of rain is all it takes to send the notion of a smart city out of the window. Call in live and tell us who you think is to blame. The number will be flashing on your screen. We have a power-packed edition, lots of ground reports lined up for you tonight. Let's get started. Here are the headlines this evening, the top 10 at 10 p.m. It's called India's Silicon Valley, but now it's underwater. Rain sinks Bengaluru, causes unprecedented flooding, traffic snarls on all major roads. It's been nearly 24 hours and Delhi's poshest suburb continues to be paralyzed by rain. Monster jams strand commuters in Gurugram. Section 144 is imposed. As smart cities sink, North and East India also battle a massive deluge. 26 people dead and over 22 lakh affected as Bihar rivers wreak havoc. Death toll shoots up in Assam. Major twist in the hunt for the Indian Air Force's missing AN-32 plane. Family of one of the airmen who was on board claims his phone is still active. Air Force to examine the family's claims. Pakistani terrorist Saifullah Bahadur Ali confesses he met terror mastermind Hafiz Saeed during his training in POK. During questioning by the National Investigating Agency, Ali says he called Hafiz Saeed Chacha. Rahul Gandhi launches a roadmap for Congress's revival in Uttar Pradesh, tears into political opponents including Prime Minister Modi, sounds the poll bugle by projecting Sheila Dikshit in Lucknow. Expelled BJP leader Daya Shankar Singh, who made a derogatory remark against Mayawati, is arrested in Bihar's Buxar. Will estranged cousins Raj and Uddhav Thackeray unite ahead of the 2017 Mumbai civic polls? Speculation rife over a joint bid to placate estranged sibling Jaidev Thackeray as a war over late Balasaheb Thackeray's will plays out in court. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal gets bail in a defamation case filed by Akali Minister Bikram Majithia. But Kejriwal repeats his drug kingpin attack, threatens to jail Majithia after winning the Punjab elections. Hillary Clinton accepts formally Democratic nomination for American president, slams Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. We lead the Newsroom tonight with a ground report from Bengaluru, India's Silicon City, a total civic mess. A few hours of rainfall was all it took for India's Silicon City to come to a grinding halt. Lakhs of people stuck on the roads for hours. The state government and the city administration totally hapless. Pratibha Raman files this lead story on the Newsroom tonight.
This is the price of civic apathy. A deluge of neglect has left Bengalurians in knee-deep water. One night of heavy rain and India's IT city is on its knees. Lakes have burst, trees have fallen, and traffic has come to an absolute standstill.
One can imagine the side effects of such kind of deluge. In fact, what you see is a snake here that was actually caught by one of the rescuers here, which actually went into one of the households mainly because of the water-logged areas here, and due to which none of them really realized it. So one can imagine the panic and the tension that is gripping here, the kind of diseases, the insects that this area will be prone to.
Horror visuals of poison froth spilling onto the streets came to light. Polluted lakes like the Bengaluru lake have overflowed, so the polluted froth that we've seen in these waters has actually spread to nearby homes and streets. Several Bengalurians were marooned in their homes waiting for help as water gushed into their homes.
भी बारिश होता है ना मैम, तो दरवाजे तक आ रहा था. इसी पहली बार है वो घर के अंदर आ गया है, तो हमें डर लग रहा है कि बच्चों को कहीं बीमार ना पड़े.
With rains forecast for the next 3 days, there's only one question on Bengalurians' minds. What will happen to their city?
Bengaluru is marooned yet again, and this is not the first time that it has happened. One night of rains and look at what has happened to this area. Waterlogged areas all around Bengaluru, pothole-ridden roads all around the city, as well as water seeping into every household, as well as lakes bursting everywhere. Will the civic authorities take responsibility for this? Who is going to take the responsibility for this deluge? Pratibha Raman, Bengaluru, India Today.
Several of the lakes in Bengaluru, or at least what used to be lakes and are now garbage dumps, have been frothing. That ugly froth came over onto the streets of Bengaluru, creating a stink that citizens were totally appalled with.
Civic apathy turning India's garden city into a complete mess. A cesspool of utter neglect, tax-paying citizens badly hit, patients and elderly citizens inconvenienced.
The thing is that we have been staying here for the last 7 years, and this is the first time ever such a thing has ever happened. I mean, we are under house arrest right now.
Is it bad town planning, simple mismanagement, corruption, blame-shifting politicians, or a bit of all of these factors that is slowly but surely choking Bengaluru? Who is guilty and where are the politicians hiding?
I think the government of Karnataka is responsible for this. They have ignored Bangalore for the last 10 years. Corrupt politicians locally are making money by having illegal construction, taking money for power connections.
Listen to the Home Minister of Karnataka, his excuse, entire Bengaluru hasn't collapsed.
City has not collapsed just because 2 or 3 places there is a waterlog. This thing, the entire city is not collapsed. Yes, we do take steps. Corporation Commissioner has already been informed.
But Bengaluru citizens suffer monsoon misery every year. But for the politicians, the annual suffering has become routine. Not just monsoon havoc, it is the same apathy that has led to worsening traffic snarls. Is killing Bengaluru's lakes, the same casual callousness that gets motorists killed due to gaping potholes and a devil-may-care attitude that has garbage piling up. Bengaluru is sinking, crying for immediate attention. Is anyone listening?
If Gurugram crawled and then drowned, another cyber hub, the Silicon Valley, came to a grinding halt due to monsoon showers. People resorted to using boats to commute in different flooded areas, mainly caused due to a lake breach. Traffic came to a grinding halt in different arterial roads of this city. Bengalurians were actually found catching fish in waterlogged areas, and this sparked a social media sensation.
With Pratibha Raman in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
Bengaluru is supposed to be one of India's 21st century cities. One of the other cities for the future is supposed to be Millennium City Gurugram or Gurugram. The state government has been spending a lot of time, energy, effort in the process of renaming Gurugram. What they seem to have forgotten totally is taking good care of the civic infrastructure in the city. A 25-kilometer long, yes, you heard that right, 25-kilometer long jam that lasted for 15 hours. Total civic apathy in what is supposed to be India's Millennium City.
Roads and houses completely inundated as incessant rains battered Gurugram. Life thrown out of gear in Millennium City as poor planning by civic authorities spelling doom for already inundated Gurugram. The heavy rain led to chock-a-block traffic across the new-built city, forcing lakhs of commuters to spend chaotic hours on waterlogged roads. Stuck in overnight traffic jam, the citizens of Gurugram vented their anger. While the people continue to reel under the consequences of civic mess, the authorities passed the buck.
The primary problem of Gurugram is the lack of city planning or urban planning. It's non-existent.
दिल्ली के अंदर भी उतनी ही बारिश हुई थी कल जितनी गुड़गांव में हुई है. दिल्ली में पूरी तरह से उसको ड्रेन आउट किया गया है. तो मुझे तो लगता है पीडब्ल्यूडी को जितने भी लोग लगे हुए उनको तारीफ करनी चाहिए कि उन्होंने अच्छा काम.
And not only city authorities, but also the politicians indulging in blame game.
It reflects that the Millennium City of Gurugram is only milked by Khattar government for revenue. But when it comes to providing services, the answer is really zero.
गुरुग्राम क्यों डूबा, क्यों लोग घंटों जाम में फंसे रहने के लिए मजबूर हुए, तो हकीकत आपके सामने है. ये आप देख सकते हैं, घुटने घुटने पानी में लोग यहाँ पर खड़े हुए हैं, बल्कि घुटने से ऊपर तक पानी है. और ये कोई स्विमिंग पूल या तालाब नहीं है, ये एक सबवे है जो सड़क पार करने के लिए बनाया है.
With heavy downpour crippling the city, urban India's worst nightmare turns to reality in Gurugram. Bureau Report, India Today.
It wasn't just Bengaluru and Gurugram. There was also Mumbai, totally flooded in, several parts at least. Not as bad as what they'd seen in years gone by, but enough to keep citizens angry, frustrated and out on the roads. Here's a report from Mumbai.
Come monsoon and Mumbai's infrastructure reality gets exposed. But this year, the civic body in India's financial capital stood exposed even before the dreaded showers. Its claim of just 158 potholes in the city came as a rude joke. To add to the woes, a mammoth rupees 352 crore road scam also got exposed, showcasing the criminal nexus which is straining the ride of Mumbaikars. A blame game soon ensued with the MNS threatening to kidnap civic officials over pothole roads. But not much seems to have changed on the ground.
There is traffic jam every single day. 17 kilometers takes about 2 hours. So I definitely feel that there should be working more closely in terms of transport at least, so that life becomes a little easier.
I think it has gone to drains right now, and the amount of money that BMC spends, I think it goes to people's coffers rather than on roads and on streets, to be true.
Long traffic snarls has become a regular feature for commuters. Experts suggest that the city can take a leaf out of Delhi's odd-even traffic curves.
The planning of the metropolis and the stormwater drains expected that a lot of rains would be absorbed by the land. Now that absorption is not happening because indiscriminate urbanization is happening.
Not just bad roads, monsoon rains played havoc with the atrial suburban train lines of the metropolis. The railway admitted a staggering 3,304 deaths last year alone in train mishaps. The urban mess now threatens investment worth billions. Jittery investors thinking twice before venturing into Mumbai. With Kamlesh Sutar and Virendra Singh Gunawat in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today.
In just a moment from now, we're going to throw open our call lines and get you, our viewers, to participate and tell us who you believe is to blame for this urban apathy. But I also want to focus on what's happening in the rest of the country, because it's not as if just the mega cities of India are sinking. The situation is actually far worse in places like Assam, in places like Bihar, where several villages are totally inundated with water. Here's a look at the situation in other parts of our country.
Mahananda, Koshi and Ganga rivers devouring large parts of Katihar in Bihar. Thousands of villagers have been devastated and lakhs have been rendered homeless. People are now stranded without food and medicine. The army is now the last source of relief and rescue as the Bihar government is overwhelmed. Flood-hit people left on their own for 5 long days are venting their ire against the Nitish government.
स्थिति सर बहुत खराब है हम लोग का भी गांव में पूरा पानी हो गया है डूब गया है परिवार कहां है नहीं है कोई पता नहीं है इसका सरकार की तरफ से कोई स्थिति नहीं है कोई व्यवस्था भी नहीं दिया है
In Uttar Pradesh's Farrukhabad, Ganga and Ram Ganga have caused massive deluge, cutting off the entire region from the rest of India. Entire villages have gone underwater. Hundreds of livestock have been washed away as people fled their homes to save lives.
बाढ़ के लिए जहाँ तक मुझे जानकारी है पूरी तैयारी है जैसे ही बाढ़ आए उसमें निपटने के लिए हमारी पूरे सभी कर्मचारी तैयार हैं
In UP's Sant Kabir Nagar, Ghagra and Rapti rivers have breached embankments, causing flooding in dozens of villages. Schools have been underwater for a week now and students have been hit the hardest. More deaths are being reported in flood-ravaged Assam, where as many as 18 lakh people are reeling under the impact. Fresh deaths were reported in Barpeta, Dhemaji and Kokrajhar. 22 Assam districts have been affected by flood. At least 21 people have lost their lives across the state. The Kaziranga National Park has gone underwater after swollen Brahmaputra inundated large areas. Incessant rains have caused flash floods and landslides in Nepal. Flood water swept through Himalayan Republic, killing at least 58 people. Heavy downpour has seriously affected rescue bids. Bureau Report, India Today.
Joining us now in the newsroom is TL Satyaprakash. He's the Deputy Commissioner of Gurugram. He's the man whose responsibility it is to ensure that the mess that happened over the past 24 hours did not happen at all. And you seem to have failed terribly. Explain to me, Mr. Satyaprakash, why was road construction, flyover construction taking place during the monsoon? Usually, in any sensible town planning system, till the time the rains are on, you stop building flyovers and roads. Here, this construction was going on. Why did the system fail so terribly under your watch, Mr. Satyaprakash?
Sir, let me explain you. I will take it with a sense of regret and also embarrassment, but nevertheless, it's not as bad as we performed. When a project horizon is approximately 18 months, and when there are issues like land acquisition, it may extend almost 24 months. Obviously, we need to have traverse 2 monsoons, come what may.
Now, I'm sorry. You're saying that it's spilled over. You could have delayed this. You could have said, okay, till the time the monsoons get over, let's get these cranes out, all these potholes which are... Just look at Gurugram. I'm going to ask for some of those images to be put on the screen right now. all across next to the flyovers. Because there's construction work taking place, there are giant potholes. Those potholes get filled with water very quickly, cars get stuck in that water, and then there is a traffic jam, and that traffic jam went on for 25 kilometers, Mr. Satyaprakash. Surely you should have planned about this and ensured it didn't happen.
Sir, it is Rahul, it's the fourth rainfall, and we could successfully manage. It was the fourth rainfall. Somehow it was an unprecedented rainfall in the sense that the fringe areas of Gurugram, that is bordering areas of Delhi, rained almost 5 times. So certain things which are beyond control, but nevertheless.
No, I'm sorry, this is not unprecedented. I'm sorry, Mr. Satyaprakash. The fact is, you know, anybody who travels to a real smart city, and this government takes pride in saying we are building smart cities. Go to a London, go to a New York, it rains for hours every single day. Their drainage systems are equipped to deal with heavy rainfall. You know that the monsoons are coming up, you know there's going to be rain. Why did you not spend the last several months preparing for this, Mr. Satyaprakash?
Somehow, I agree, sir. I understood your question. Sir, I understood your question. If you take London, it has 500 years of history. Gurugram started as a small town, and in 1991 it was 1,21,000 population, and in 1985, ever since Rajiv Gandhi met KP Singh, and then it started as a south of Delhi type of address, and it grew haphazardly for 30 years and 32 years, and then suddenly we got a city administration and we inherited a lot of problems. It is extremely unfair on my part to say that okay, we inherited problem, because we are here to give continuity. Nevertheless, there is a problem, so far so bad or so far so good. We have to handle the problem. In 2008, first time we got city corporation established. To that extent, we are only 8 years in existence. So
no, but in those 8 years, it's not as if, Mr. Satyaprakash, things are getting from, one second, it's not as if things are going from bad to better. Things are going from bad to worse. This government has been spending time changing the name. Yes, you know, that's totally cosmetic. It's more important for them to change the name from Gurgaon to Gurugram. Real town planning is suffering. Your priorities are all flawed, which is why we saw what we did over the past 24 hours.
Let me tell you, let me discuss with you with a pure governance perspective. No, let me tell you with a pure governance perspective. I am not getting into other things. There were 3 drains which we wanted to clean it up, and one was leg 1, leg 2, and third was the Badshahpur drain. Except for Badshahpur drain, leg 1 and leg 2, which covered 75% of the city, went well. Even in case of Badshahpur drain, in our enthusiasm to pump out more water, we pumped more water and put it on Badshahpur drain, so it breached, and we did not allow it to breach, and at the early morning 3 o'clock, we plugged it with 5,000 sandbags, and we managed it such a way that no part of the city drowns. To that extent it was okay, but nevertheless we have to differentiate between 2 problems. One was traffic and other was water logging.
Yes, one second. You know, I think Mr. Satyaprakash, Deputy Commissioner sir, Deputy Commissioner sir, I think the one thing that everyone who's watching is most interested in is, can you guarantee to us that if over the next few days, tomorrow, the day after, or after that, it rains like it did yesterday, you will be able to prevent people from suffering for hours on end? I know people who got stuck in a jam at around 9 o'clock and were stuck in the jam till 4 a.m.
No. I should explain you why it happened. There is a cluster of reasons why it happened. There was till 3:30 early afternoon, there was a taxi driver strike in Indira Gandhi airport, and suddenly it was called off, and all these people were stuck at airport en masse entered. And second was the rainfall was slightly heavier compared to, we are designed for 3.5 to 4 centimeter daily rainfall. And the third part was because it was office time closed, everybody was helter-skelter behaving, and then they were all wanted to get into their houses so early. So there was certain level of civic mess. There was no, there was a lot of people were not following. You see, in order to have such a mess, it just needs 2% of the people behaving in an unruly manner. I'm not telling.
Are you blaming citizens, sir? Are you, Mr. Deputy Commissioner, are you blaming the people who were stuck in traffic jams for 8-9 hours? Are you saying they are responsible for this mess?
No, not at all, not at all. I'm telling 98% of the people were right. It just takes 2% to go unruly so that such a chaos is created. So
stay with me, Mr. Satyaprakash.
I also concede to that extent that we could have created a better awareness and better coordination.
Because I've got people calling me. People are calling, they want to speak to you, they want to ask you questions. So stay with me. Before that, I want you and everyone else to take a look at this ground report, because our reporters, Parveena, Gaurav Sawant, Anusha Soni, Jugal Purohit, went to different parts of Gurugram, filed this ground report about how life took a big hit. Remember, out of 500 Fortune 500 companies, out of the 500 companies, 300 are based in Gurugram. This is not just bad for Gurgaon's image, this is bad for India's image globally. Here's a report.
In the coming days, it's worth watching what the authorities will do in a last-ditch attempt.
The situation is even turning worse because, this is a highway which actually connects to Jaipur.
The Haryana Chief Minister blaming Delhi for the nightmare in Gurgaon.
The glittering Millennium City transformed into an urban sinkhole with overnight rains. Thousands getting stranded on roads which resembled rivers, some through the entire night.
Very, very angry as the authorities have woken up very late. As you can see that this is also a highway which connects to Jaipur, and it is a Jaipur highway, and lots of trucks which are also on their way, making the traffic even more worse.
Long serpentine traffic jams have made schools and some offices declare a holiday. The Gurugram police were seen battling the traffic snarls till late evening.
You also had schools that had to be shut off, offices that said stay home, flexi timings, come late, go early. But even after that, Gurugram is now bracing for more.
While authorities pledged action, there was no respite in sight. Fresh spell of rains made it worse for commuters.
This rainfall has proved that the situation is actually very bad on the ground. The local traffic cops, as we spoke, told us there are certain parts where you cannot go at all. The water has reached the waist level.
While weekends might bring some respite, the city is unlikely to get rid of the urban mess in a hurry. Bureau Report, India Today.
Joining us on the Newsroom Showdown now, who's to blame? And remember, unlike most other Newsroom Showdowns, here you can join in, call in and participate in this debate. Representing the BJP tonight is Raman Malik. He's a spokesperson of the BJP. Looks very closely at what's happening in Haryana. With us also is Reena Dhaka. She's a fashion designer, works out of Gurgaon. We've got Madhu Gaud Yashki representing the Congress. TL Satyaprakash is the Deputy Commissioner of Gurugram. He's still with us. I want to go across to Raman Malik first, because Raman, we have seen the BJP government over the past few months, and I remember joining you in Gurugram on a show when you were very excited about the name change from Gurugram to Gurugram. A lot of time, energy spent changing names, very little spent on changing civic infrastructure on the ground. Your government has made a terrible mess of handling the situation. Citizens stranded, few apathy they had to deal with, and the inability of the government to rise to the occasion.
Rahul, let me be on the onset, be very clear about this. Whatever be the reasons, I can give you a list of reasons for what it happened and why it happened. But at the end of the day, the government of the day is responsible, and we should apologize and we should say that we are sorry for what you have faced. And sincerely we do. Now, coming on to the issues that why it happened, one must understand that the whole of Gurgaon can be split into three portions. One, which is around the Dwarka Expressway, which is yet to be developed. The other one is the old Gurgaon and the sectors towards Palam Vihar and all. And the third one is the new Gurgaon, which starts from the Gateway Tower until the Sona Chowk. Now, if you look at these three places, now the main problem has arisen only in the new Gurgaon, which starts from the Gateway Tower up to Hero Honda Chowk and a little further down. And that primarily is because of the unplanned development that has happened over the past 10 years. Now today, if I have to give you a very valid example, and probably Reena ji would accept this, the road that starts from Hilton in Gurgaon to Sona Road, where Good Earth City Centre is, and she would have seen that place.
One second. You know, you're very conveniently trying to pass the buck onto the Congress and saying that what happened in the last 10 years is to blame. That is exactly what you're trying to do. Reena Dhaka, the fact is they've now been in government for a fair amount of time. Where are the improvements? Okay, there was unplanned development under the Congress, but what has the Khattar government done so far? Has there been any positive change that gives citizens a sense of things going from bad to better? They're going from bad to worse, Ms. Dhaka.
It's absolutely, I mean, I empathize with you. There is a thing is I was on the jam. I escaped it yesterday. I only took 1 hour 40 minutes to reach. Luckily, because I hit NH8, which was sort of clear at 6:30 p.m. So I made out before the main, because the part he's trying to say is that there's choke elsewhere. That elsewhere choke was holding back the traffic, leaving NH8 quite clear for the first part between 6:30 to 7:30. But there was so much of water, like waist deep, wherein I would see the inconvenience, the hell of the women, female workers especially, coming out of the factories with water lashing on them. They didn't know where to go on the roads. There was a whole lot of cars, and I mean, I don't know what would you do with that. Why can't that water go into simple sewage drains?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it would subside,
you know, we want to invite our viewers to join us as well. Arun is calling from Gurgaon. Arun, go ahead. You've got the Deputy Commissioner. You've got a BJP spokesperson. What's your question, Arun?
I would like all these people who are represented by the government here, there are always reasons. Finding reasons is no solution. We know there are reasons, we have done nothing to remove them. We always keep on saying this is a reason, that is a reason. The reasons are always there.
Good point, that's right.
It is always the people who can know the reasons and avoid the reasons to be there to happen in the first place.
That's a very, very important point you raise, Arun. He's a resident of Gurgaon. I want TL Satyaprakash, the Deputy Commissioner, to respond directly to the citizen. Because, you know, what you just heard Arun say is, yes, we know there are problems. Tell us, Mr. Deputy Commissioner, why did you not work in the months before the monsoon to try and fix those problems? Now sitting here and making a contrite face and saying that you're sorry means nothing. When you were supposed to work, when your team was supposed to be out there, you obviously didn't do enough, which is why there was this massive chaos in the first instance.
Sort of volume increase. Yeah. Hello?
I hear you. Do you hear me?
Can you repeat the question, please?
We just had a caller. Arun asked you, don't tell me what the problems are. I live in the city. Can you hear me, Mr. Satyaprakash?
Please repeat the question.
Can you hear me? Do you hear me, Mr. Satyaprakash?
Yeah, now I can hear.
I'm saying that we just had a caller from Gurgaon say, don't tell me what the problems are. He says, I know the problems. Tell me, why did you not do enough to try and fix those problems when you were supposed to? Why were you sleeping on the job?
Look, we had 3 drains and we have cleared almost 2 drains, and there was a small issue related to the Bashapur drain, and it breached, and we fixed it at 3 a.m. In the morning, and all my officers were on street, and also they were working all through the night, and 75% of the Gurgaon was okay, and when the water, 700 cusecs of the water was gushing through Bashapur drain, we were busy plugging it, And you see, the city has a very strange topography, in the sense there are 313 meters of the height in Delhi, and then there is a steep gradient of 234 meters within 5 kilometers. These were some of the obvious implications, but as far as waterlogging is concerned, water gushed in, but it receded quickly. And
I want to go to Arindam. We've got another caller from Bengaluru, from Gurgaon, and after that we'll shift our attention to Bengaluru. Arindam is with us. Arindam, go ahead. Ask your question.
My question is very simple. Year after year this thing happens. There is no urban planning here. The sewage drains are at a height which is above the basement height of the building. So what happens when the water is actually supposed to go down, it comes back from the sewage drains, and the rainwater drains are at a higher height than the sewage drains. So this creates a havoc during the rains.
Let Raman Malik respond to that, because those are the kind of systemic urban challenges that your government needs to spend time focusing on instead of bothering with name changes. Your priorities are all flawed, which is why there is a problem. Raman Malik, respond on the issue of drains being above the level of the road.
Rahul, there are two issues. Let's segregate the two issues. You are fixated on name change, but let me come back to the core issue. The city was designed with a mind of around 3 to 3.5 centimeters of rain. That is one part. The second part is the city has been developed in the last 10 years, which was totally haphazard. The convenience, the collision between builders and the certain people are under scrutiny. Now, once we go off from that part, now we come to the planning part. Now, the planning that I was referring to a little while ago, where I told you the roads are in such a manner that today, where you require a 3 feet stormwater pipe, they have put hardly a feet. Now this whole thing is lack of short-sightedness and planning of the past. We are ready to
again you're blaming the past, which is why people voted you in. Obviously they didn't like what was happening, which is why you got the vote that you did. Now you're supposed to deliver. Don't keep blaming the past. When you're in opposition, you blame the government, that's all right. Rahul, but now you're not in opposition.
We have commenced. Rahul, we have commenced. Please listen. Rahul, we have commenced the project which was stalled for the last 10 years plus.
I want to take some callers from Bengaluru also. Because, I see Madhu Gaudiyashki, he's itching to have a go at Raman. But 1 second, Madhu. Because you're also responsible for what's happening in Karnataka, in Bengaluru. That's a Congress-ruled state. So it's easy for you to blame the BJP for what's happening in Gurgaon. First, let's listen to what Shekhar has to say, because he's got a question for Bengaluru. Go ahead, Shekhar. Shekhar. Okay, give me a moment. I'm going to try and get Shekhar back. Madhu, you want to come in, because it's very easy for you to jump in and say, okay, the BJP is not doing a good job in Gurgaon. But what about Bengaluru? What do you have to say about to furious citizens?
Let me answer on that. Rahul, first two things here. For the past 2 years, Madhu Sarkar and Mr. Venkaiah Naidu are talking about smart cities. Mr. Venkaiah Naidu himself is an urban development minister and also hails from Karnataka, until recently was representing. Under UPA, there are Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Renewal Mission. The central government was aiding, supporting those cities. Bengaluru and Gurgaon, a lot of MNCs are located. It's not just India, it's going to affect worldwide. As you said it, not only India image, but the whole exports revenue, what you're getting foreign revenue, comes from these two cities. My simple question, Rahul, here, first of all, before asking the gentleman, Mr. Raman and the administrator there, meteorological department said there is a good rain, monsoon going to be this season. You already knew that the rain going to come. What is your preparedness? Are there single fire engine or traffic police or anyone is there? Have you said it in other developed cities, New York, London? You mentioned
questions, but as a politician, you're asking the questions that suit you, not answering the questions that you need to answer about the mess in Bengaluru. Ashish is with us. 1 second, Madhu. Ashish is with us. He's a caller from Gurgaon. Ashish, what's your question? Ashish, I want the citizens to speak and I want the netas to listen. Ashish, please.
Yeah, I'm from Gurugram, and we had voted in last 2 years back the new government, and nothing has changed. We have been the photograph that you are seeing is of Subhash Chowk, Sona Road, and nothing has changed in 2 years. Even though it's not heavy rains, even if small little bit of rain on 18th of July, 22nd of July, and it has caused all sort of problems. The entire traffic goes. The highway is totally wrongly planned, and because it is wrongly planned, there's a lot of traffic jams every day. The Chief Minister should come, not do an aerial review, but should come, and on Monday to Friday, he should drive and see what the problem is.
That's a good point, because even today the Chief Minister wanted to spin around on a helicopter. Bad weather didn't allow that. But Reena Dhaka, I think Ashish hits it on the head when he says that you've got a government that has changed, and yet the BJP seems to be in a mode of attacking the Congress for what they did in 10 years. Please. 1 second, Reena Dhaka. Citizens are frustrated. They're saying, we gave you a chance. What have you done? You've not done anything to make things better, Ms. Dhaka.
I think we all have what we call a phobia now. It's actually a genuine psychological situation, and most of us just rush out as if in panic out of those factories the minute we realize it's going to rain, or even if we realize it's going to be like the rush hour or the time hours. The amount of loss of revenue we've had with work, because for today and for tomorrow most of us are not showing up at work or trying to venture into Gurgaon. A lot of us have work emergencies, things we are for us to try and go back into that mess.
Your urban infrastructure, your urban planning is a joke. You've got 300 of the top 500 fortune companies in the world based in Gurgaon. What will the headquarters think of India? Ease of doing business, trying to make things better. Few minutes of rain and the whole city comes to a grinding halt. Rajiv is joining us. Rajiv, go ahead. What's your question? Rajiv.
Yeah, I'm Rajiv here. Go
on, sir.
Yeah, just JP. They demand taxes, they demand all kind of octroys from us. But why should we pay all these taxes to them if they can't even positive government?
That's a good point. That governments have such high expectations from citizens. Raman, can't citizens have basic expectations from the government? Why can't the government live up to the charter that it is supposed to live up to?
Okay, Rahul, couple of points very quickly. One, all of this that has happened, rather than just doing what the Congress representative was doing, I can do the same, but I'm not over here to do it. But let me tell you what is the ground situation as of right now. 800 plus Jawans, 3 DCPs, 1 CP is on the job. The entire machinery is already put into... Please listen to us. Please wait. Don't be panicked. They are on the job. The civil administration is on the job. We are taking...
You have to plan in advance.
Sir, I can rip you apart. Sir, I can rip you apart right now, right here, with all the things that you have done. I am not going to waste citizens' time on it.
No, this blame game, the blame game is not cutting it tonight, gentlemen. This blame game is not enough. We want action, we want concrete, tangible results so that citizens know. Just turn those faders down. Tonight the citizens speak, the netas listen. That's important. Turn both the faders down, please. Tonight the netas must listen because citizens are angry and they need to register this anger. I've got Ajay Kapoor joining us. Ajay, go ahead, please. What's your question?
I was just listening to the debate and I was wondering that everybody is blaming the rain gods for yesterday. Whereas it has started raining at 4:30 p.m. only. There wasn't any rain in the morning. Still, the roads were choked in the morning as well. And it's an everyday affair. What does the traffic police and the administration in Gurgaon do every day? It took me like 2.5 hours to travel 5 kilometers.
It's a good point because, Madhu, you're very conveniently trying to pass the blame onto the BJP government. But the fact is a lot of this is a legacy issue. inherited, passed down from your government, and now the BJP saying we're trying to do what we can, but it's a mess you created and you can't run away from that, Madhu.
Rahul, first of all, in last 10 years we were in power, never such situation have happened, never
Arun,
declared a 144 section there, never a traffic jam for 17 hours, never heard of it. And secondly, Rahul, as the citizen
have you ever visited Gurugram?
You knew that the rain is going to come.
Gurugram?
Listen to Mr. I visited Gurugram. Wait a minute, have some patience. What was the preparation? Are they police or traffic or fire engine there on the top? You caught napping.
Arun Arora is joining us now. Arun Arora, Gurugram clearly very angry, getting calls now. Arun Arora is joining us. Arun, go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, hi, my question is to Mr. Raman Malik.
Go on.
Where exactly he stays? Has he ever been to Municipal Corporation of Gurugram? Has he ever seen the working of, how they lay roads on that? There's so much of corruption there. I stuck up there for 6 hours yesterday, and totally there was a system failure.
Raman must respond.
Sir, I am saying to you that there is a lot desired out of a municipal corporation of Gurugram, the way it works. And there is a lot of corruption that has happened over the years, which needs to now get out of the system. And our government is very clear, we are not tolerating it. Anywhere we get, we fire the person. 66 officers have been suspended for corruption practices or not performing their job properly. 66 of them in the last 1 year. Now, let me come further on to it. I am collecting information from a lot of people on social media, what is their suggestion. I am going tomorrow morning out of my own to meet the CM and give him and appraise him of the situation.
You know, first and foremost, ML Khattar needs to get to Gurugram and get to Gurugram very quickly. Speak to people there and find out how they feel, what they want done.
Rahul, I am going tomorrow morning.
You're going, not going doesn't make any difference. People want to see the Chief Minister there. He's the man whose responsibility it is to run the state. He's the one who must come take responsibility and explain to people what will be done to fix the city. This cannot be India's millennium city. You cannot have urban infrastructure falling apart with just a few minutes of rain. This is not okay. You make India look like a joke in the eyes of the world. And I think a wake-up call has gone out tonight to the BJP government in Haryana that more needs to be done. You cannot sit back and blame the Congress for what they didn't do. Welcome back. You're with us on the newsroom, and before I go any further, let me take you through some of the other big news headlines that have made it to the newsroom tonight. As Pakistan continues to provoke India over the Kashmir issue, India is unlikely to hold bilateral talks with Pakistan alongside the SAARC ministerial conference. Rajnath Singh will, however, travel to Islamabad for this meeting. 9 people were killed when a building collapsed in Pune. There were 13 people working on the 14th floor when this unfortunate tragedy happened. The Rajasthan government will appeal against the High Court order acquitting Bollywood star Salman Khan in a poaching case. The move comes after an eyewitness claimed that Khan did kill the Chinkara. This is where we wrap up the newsroom tonight. I look forward to seeing you Monday night at 10 p.m. with another power-packed edition of the newsroom. Till then, from all of us here in the India Today newsroom, goodbye, good night.